Ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain seated. We'll just take a moment to do up the top table for the next session. The session that is coming up is themed Impact of De-license 6 GHz on the growth of Wi-Fi in India. So as India accelerates towards the digital transformation, efficient and expansive connectivity becomes paramount. And the de-licensing of 6 GHz band is seen as a major policy step to boost Wi-Fi accessibility, affordability, and innovation. So we are honored to have with us a panel of experts who bring deep insights from both national and the global perspective. Chairing the session is Ms. M. Revathi, IRRS, JWA, WPC. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Let's put our hands together to welcome our distinguished chair, Ms. M. Revathi. We would also like to invite our distinguished panelists and speakers, Mr. Paramjeet S. Puri. He is Global Director of Membership, Wi-Fi Alliance. We welcome you on the panel once again, sir. Warm welcome. Inviting Mr. Vivek Dua, Principal General Manager, Fixed Access, BSNL. Inviting Mr. Debashish Bhattacharya, Senior Deputy Director General, BIF. Mr. Alan Norman, Director, Public Policy, Meta. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of Mr. Alan Normal, Mr. Hiral Modi will be joining us online from Meta. Once again, we warmly welcome you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, chairing the session is Ms. M. Revathi, who is an officer of the Indian Radio Regulatory Service, currently serving as Joint Wireless Advisor at the Wireless Planning and Coordination Wing, Ministry of Communications. With a rich background in spectrum planning and regulatory strategy, she brings a sharp focus on policy implementation. And may I now invite our session chair to kindly take the session forward. Ma'am, if we could kindly conclude in about 40 minutes, it'll be nice. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for introduction. So, very good afternoon. I think some just logistics. Mr. Alan is on online, he is participating. Hiral Modi is joining online. I think as a session chair, I have some privilege of timelines. So I think for opening remarks, I will take 7 minutes. And as I expect all my panelists will take each of them, I think 6 to 7 minutes. At the end, I think I have 3 to 4 minutes to wrap up. Probably we may take 1 or 2 questions. With this, let me put the context. So we have been talking since morning about that Wi-Fi, its importance of Wi-Fi and open Wi-Fi, ubiquitous Wi-Fi, and open roaming and all. I think I have a little difficulty. I'll take this thing and I come. This height is a little problem to me. I have to. Huh? No, this is adjusted, this height, okay. I can speak here, I think it's better. Yeah, please. When we talk about Wi-Fi, it generally operates in the de-licensed frequency bands. And so far we have done some de-licensing, especially in India. This de-licensing process we have started somewhere in 2005. And the first band we have de-licensed is 2.4 GHz. Everyone is well aware of it. And the bandwidth there is very limited. Similarly, when we moved from 2G to 3G, 4G, 5G, and we are moving to 6G, similarly in the Wi-Fi, the technology also goes Wi-Fi 1, 2, 3, 4, and now Wi-Fi 7E and 8. You need a higher bandwidth rates for that. So with that, we have moved into 5 GHz band, and somewhere around 600 megahertz we have de-licensed. 600? No, it's more than 610, somewhere in 2018 with full powers. So as on date, before this de-licensing, we have already de-licensed 710 megahertz of the band. But with the new technologies for like highly immersive applications, low latency, high data rates, you need a higher channel bandwidth. That is only possible in the 6 gigahertz. This journey started almost 4 years before. The 6 gigahertz band, because there is a competing demands for it. one for IMT, another for Wi-Fi, and apart from that, there are already existing applications in it. That is basically satellite uplinking applications, very intense applications in India. Finally, Government of India, after listening to all the stakeholders, after done exhaustive technical examinations and technical studies, and I'm satisfied that Government of India has taken a very balanced approach by making upper band for IMT. That is over a period of time, maybe by 2030, we'll be able to reform that spectrum for IMT. And the lower band with low power applications of Wi-Fi, which can coexist with the existing primary uses without causing any interference. In those lines, we have come out with the draft rules, and the draft rules we have opened for public to give a comments. That was last date was 15th of June, and people have given the comments. Now I expect more from that, my panelists here. What are the still something they wanted more from these technical specifications? Then, as Honorable Mantri has told in the morning, probably by, at least by mid of August, by August 15th, we'll be able to come out with the rules. With this, I think my next speaker is Mr. Paramjit ji. What is that? We'll give it to, yeah. Yeah, I know, he was last time here. So I'll move it to Mr. Hiral Modi. Please, it is over to you.
Thank you so much. I will start sharing my screen once again. Hello, everyone. My name is Hiral Modi once again, if you're not present in the session in the morning. For this topic, we'll focus on delicensing 6 gigahertz band in India. Very quick 20-second recap of a couple of things I spoke about in the morning. Our mission of building the future of human connection, and by which we want to help people feel more present, connected, and empowered in the world. All these technologies that you see here will transform how we connect, making our interaction more engaging, meaningful, and seamless. Out of all these technologies, I talked about two of these, which is the Ray-Ban Meta Smart AI glasses and Orion, the true and the most advanced version of AR glasses the world has seen. I've talked about these devices, their feature set in the morning. So in this session, I want to focus on some of the challenges that we have in building these devices and the future of human connection. Some of the biggest challenges are SWaP-C, that stands for size, weight, power/thermal, and the overall cost of the device. Latency plays a big factor in designing and building these devices to give you that seamless and smooth user experiences. And the overall quality of experience has to be extremely smooth for people to be able to adopt these new form factors and make it their everyday go-to gadgets. To show, people say seeing is believing, to show how this Wi-Fi 6E technically helps us, we ran some internal, very simple, one of the use cases is when you take photos and videos through your Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses, you transfer that over the Wi-Fi link to your phone, because the glasses don't have a whole lot of storage. As soon as you take photos and videos, it transfers over Wi-Fi links to your phone. To run the simple test, we ran like 3 gigabit of data in every iteration over 5 gigahertz with 40 megahertz of channel, and then 6 gigahertz with 160 megahertz of channel. And we use the 40 megahertz because that is how the typical dense deployment look like today for 5 gigahertz. And you can clearly see the difference in the battery/power saving by each iteration. You can see the green line, which demonstrates the 6 gigahertz reading, and the red line, which demonstrates the 5 gigahertz reading. On an average, it gets me almost 50 to 70% more battery to give users that all-day battery life. If you were to focus on the different KPI, which is throughput, as you can see, in almost every scenario and on an average, it gives me double the throughput on a 6 gigahertz link or 5 gigahertz. And this is simple open environment in the living room of my home, no congestion interfered or anything. This is typical link how users deploy in their homes and offices. Now, if I were to, this is with the Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses, very simple use case. If I were to shift gears, when we talk about Orion, Orion currently is a prototype device. It's a three-part constellation, as you can see on the right, the glasses. In the center, you see the puck device. And then on the right top corner, you see the EMG wristband. The EMG wristband tracks your thousands of gestures and input. The puck device gives you that compute and the connectivity, and then the glasses obviously gives you that amazing display. We cannot put a lot of compute and connectivity on the glasses because, like I explained, thermal hotness. So we put the compute and connectivity in the puck. As you can see, these are the potential network topology. As you can see, the puck is connected to cellular, it's connected to the Wi-Fi. And then the link between the glasses and the EMG band and the puck is that P2P Wi-Fi, and obviously for some of the quick commands, we can use the Bluetooth as well. These devices will be out and about on the street. So to reiterate, the P2P Wi-Fi connectivity is super important for us, even when the devices are outdoor. Now, to go to the rule, the draft rulemaking and some of the suggestions we have made, we have requested for a higher PSD. Why? The increased PSD, for obvious reasons, to 11 dBm will give you the higher throughput, lower latency, and the robust reliability for these indoor dense environment use cases. It will enable the future, for example, AR, VR, smart manufacturing, telemedicine, and most importantly, the risk of interference to incumbents is extremely low because these devices operate indoors mostly and under controlled power condition. They are also coupled with AFC, which is automated frequency coordination, and with the attenuation factors, there is very low risk of interference. We are also proposing to increase the PSD limit of VLP devices to 1 dBm per megahertz because this modest increase will help us give us that robust overall end-to-end quality of experience that I showed you on my XR challenges slide for wearable devices, where body loss is a significant factor. And on my next slide, I want to quickly walk you through about the body loss. As you can see on the right in the picture, person is wearing the glass, but the pug, for example, may be sitting in the backpack or in the back pocket. And as you can see, the VLP use cases must tolerate the body loss of at least 30 dB or more, which is again a very common real world user patterns. And that is why we are proposing the PSD increase for the VLP use cases. If you were to ask, okay, tell us a little bit about the global landscape. First, you can see is the FCC. And then the next one you can see is the European and the Australian numbers. Right now, I think the numbers that India have drafted to adopt are the numbers listed by FCC. However, as you can see, the European Union and Australians have adopted the numbers that we are proposing that we should be adopting, which is the 11 dBm for LPI and the 1 dBm power increase for the VLP. Even for FCC, these rules and these numbers are extremely old. They were probably suggested around 5 years ago in 2020. They are in the process because the world has changed, the technology has evolved compared to where we were when these rules came out for FCC. They were probably the first ones for this. But now they understand that the world has evolved and the technology has evolved. So they are in the process of revising these rules and most likely coming to the proposals that we are making as well. One of the other asks we have for the government is to consider making this contention-based protocol mandatory to ensure that the long-term utility of the 6 gigahertz band is satisfied. The goal is to make sure that unlicensed technology can use the fair use of the band. Basically, what it suggests is the band should be able to scale proportionally with the number of devices. If there are more active devices in a given location, they should be able to use the band more. And one technology unfairly does not hinder any other technology. A very simple example of CBP is basically listen before you talk. If the channel is busy, the device wait for a random period of time before retrying. This dynamic behavior of the technology promotes basically fair coexistence among multiple unlicensed spectrum. Even the EU and US mandates the devices to use the contention-based protocol in the 6 gigahertz band today. So this is our request for the Indian government to consider this as well, please. And my last slide, I think there are a lot of questions about the coexistence of the unlicensed technology with incumbents like FSS and FS. So BIF have conducted the coexistence study with RKF and concluded that the suggested PSD limits will have no impact and the existing incumbents are protected with the suggested PSD limits. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hiral. Your inputs, your comments on the draft rules. I think devotee is examining it. Probably whatever feasible we'll try to incorporate in the final rules which are going to be published. As far as AFC, listen before talk, that we have already, AFC also, that we have already considered, but major concern for us is basically it's a satellite space station receiver aggregate noise. We'll wait and watch. Probably maybe after 1 or 2 years we can see as the deployment progresses. Thank you again. And now I'll request Mr. Vivek Dua to please throw light on your viewpoint on this concerned topic. It's up to you, wherever you are comfortable. Yeah, Mike, you can introduce yourself and please.
Yeah, very good afternoon. I'm Vivek Dua. I'm Principal General Manager at BSNL Corporate Office. And this topic is very close to my heart because the impact of Wi-Fi, particularly in the rural, I have personally experienced during this BharatNet utilization program. I was closely associated with it. I have spoken on this on several occasions before also. When I visit villages, one thing that I notice across all villages is one gadget which is very popular among children. This is a typical tablet, a 8 to 10-inch tablet, which they hold in their hands for entertainment, for education, for any similar thing. And it's a Wi-Fi enabled tablet. It doesn't have a 3G or a 4G SIM slot, but compulsorily it's a Wi-Fi enabled. And that's the thing they love, that they can connect to the hotspot in the village that they have, or a FTTH at home. I gave this example in one of the earlier sessions about Chimaldari village in Telangana next to Hyderabad, where I visited, and then when I was in a school and I asked the teacher about a digital classroom, the child there was more excited to explain about the digital board than the teacher himself. That's the level of thinking or the evolution which happens when you connect to the digital devices. The devices, the screens are so intuitive, you don't need a teacher to really tell you what to do, what not to do. People learn on their own. And this child, after spending 10-15 minutes telling me about the digital board, also shared that once he leaves the school, he continues with his personal tablet at home because they have a good Wi-Fi at home. Because village, it's not the personal FTTH that they had at home, the village was having an umbrella coverage of Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi means a lot to people in the village because it opens up so many opportunities which you and me cannot see or experience or understand sitting in these sessions. I also, because of the opportunity I got in BharatNet, I was able to go across to villages and understand at the grassroots level what it really means. And when the talk of 6 gigahertz or a higher throughput or a bigger bandwidth, more speed is being discussed about, I personally feel very excited that those very children who are today on a lower speed or a lower band would do a AR, VR as seamlessly as anybody would do in a city or a town. Just correlating, when I was in Vijayawada for one of these sessions, I met a gentleman, a doctor who had come back to India. He was like 60 years. And then we were talking about the impact of BharatNet and Wi-Fi in India. And one thing he told me categorically, Vivek, you don't need doctors in the villages today. You simply need supervisors or basic technicians who should take the data of the patient, be it a blood sample or an eye scan or a similar scanning to be done on the patient or the citizen, and transport that data back to the town. So doctor at a PHC, a primary health center, is not required today to do a first level of service delivery in the health sector. But then you need a good data to be enabled at the village, was his key message. And I have seen Bihar, for example, is a classic case today. I think they have the maximum number of PHCs today in the country in terms of penetration or density. And similar would be in Tamil Nadu also. So the impact that it has created, because healthcare and education are the key enablers for any society to prosper. And once we are talking of 6 gigahertz, we are primarily looking at those objectives, which we call Viksit Bharat or a digital Bharat. It is all leading to that objective only. And if we are damn serious about it, as Honorable Minister spoke in the morning, I heard him live, we are delivering data at 5% of what is the global pricing or the cost. And we can bring it further down by this 6 gigahertz band that we are speaking about. It's all about making digital enablement more affordable. I should not use the word free because that's not really workable, but to make it more and more affordable. He also spoke about the gadgets or the devices. That should not become the digital divide. That's very, very important. I spoke about the Android tablet, which is hardly 4,000, 5,000. It's more popular than a laptop, which is a typically 30,000 piece, because it's more affordable, it's more simple to use, and there are no maintenance cost around it. So devices which make the service more easy to use have to be enabled for the citizens. The connectivity has to be great. It has to be the level of AR and VR becoming usable at the village level. One example I tell you, which is called the multiplier effect. We did an impact survey for BharatNet. One lady in a village next to Hoshiarpur in Punjab, we asked her, no, you have FTTH at home. What are you doing with this? She told, today I have 17 or 18 ladies from Hoshiarpur connecting with me online, and I'm doing cookery classes for them. They learn the cuisines which are more popular in the rural area, in the villages, and then they do it for themselves back in home in the city. That's the taste they have, that's the liking they have. And then I said, how much you are earning? He said, almost like 25,000 per month with a 500 rupee connection that I have at home. So you have a skill which can be potentially used, but the digital divide, as we talk, is the one which separates you from that potential realization. So 500 rupee FTTH at home is able to get converted to 25,000 rupees. It's not just about one lady or a one village. This skill, this potential sits in every home in every part of the country. It's a matter of connecting those homes, those people, to realize the purpose of their life, to see that there is more meaning to what they are doing today. And I'm sure the initiatives of the government like this one, 6 gigahertz, it is going to have a very, very big multiplier effect on the happiness index of people and of course the economy measurement that we do. So this is few of realization that I had while working on this. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vivek. It's nice to hear the grassroots level, at the village level, what our Honorable Minister also told. What is happening with the FTTH and our BharatNet connection along with the Wi-Fi and the school children enjoying it. And I am happy that that happiness will be increased further with our initiative of delicensing 6 gigahertz band. With that, we'll move to Mr. Puri.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, so I gave a detailed presentation in the morning today in the knowledge session, which actually over exceeded the time limit which was given to me. So I don't have any presentation to give, but I'd just like to touch upon 2-3 very important points, which have come out from all the discussions, which have taken place, including, the speech from the Honorable Minister. And so one was regarding the technical aspect, like which even Hiral just mentioned, and we even spoke earlier on June 19th with Madam Revathi. And of course, she said very, considerably that, the proposals which the industry and the associations have given to DOT are being studied, whether in terms of, including the power level or, looking at the next phase for increasing the from 500 megahertz to more megahertz, in the 6 gigahertz spectrum for better effective usage of the 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Because the power of 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi actually comes when there are more 320 megahertz channel or more 160 megahertz channels available. Yeah. And we gave the example of Ofcom, the UK regulator, how it has made the upper band available for Wi-Fi at the same time, keeping the option for both mobile and Wi-Fi open for in the upper 6 gigahertz bands. Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much that, that DOT is looking into all those proposals. Yeah. The second issue is basically, it's great that we have opened up the 6 gigahertz. Earlier we had done it, the 2.4, 5.8. Of course, there were a lot of riders in those opening up, and there were a lot of ifs and buts and clauses. Hopefully, which actually stifled the ISPs, if I recollect. You could not share your equipment, you could not share your premises, you could not share your right-of-ways, all those things were there. So I hope, that deshackling takes place this time. Number one. And number two, how does it reach to the common man? I think that's very critical. As far as the urban is concerned, fair enough, you have telcos which give home broadband, and that is the only place where they're providing, Wi-Fi. That is at the homes, so whether it's a Jio or a Airtel or a BSNL, I think now, is also providing. So, fine, from Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, which is presently there, it will become Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, going up to Wi-Fi 7. Phenomenal for home growth, phenomenal for all the applications we talked about, like AR, VR, smart glasses, etc., and all that. Yeah. But how does the common man in India, in the rural area, benefit from that? Yeah. And I think that is something seriously which the government really needs to look into, that how the operators, along with the government, along with the ISPs, along with the PM Vani scheme or the PDAs, or how can they make that work? How can they really actually, we have at the backhaul fiber, which BharatNet has done a pretty good job. We have fixed wireless access, which only one telco is giving today, namely Jio. We have satellite, which is about to come. To some extent, satellite was there, but now we are opening up new spectrum allocation for satellite. So there'll be another avenue for a backhaul to reach those places where neither cellular or anything has ever gone there. So the last mile can be connected through Wi-Fi. So now, who's going to connect that? Is there a business model for that? Is there a way to make money for that? I think that were some of the very relevant questions which were raised by the session before lunch by the PM Vani entrepreneurs, who spoke on that here. So the question is, can something like the USOF fund, which is being created by the government, be created for Wi-Fi? Because I think Wi-Fi requires an impetus by the government, not only just for the technology perspective or for opening up the spectrum perspective, but also from the economic perspective, in a country like ours, like a poor country like ours, and let's be very clear, we are still a very poor country. I mean, we may call ourselves the 5th largest economy or, soon to become a 4th largest economy of the world, but in terms of actual per capita income, we are very, very, very behind, much, much, much behind China. So let's not fool ourselves. So we have a long way to go. We really have a long way to go, and we really need the initiative. We really need the initiative from the government, from the industry, from the operators, to really make sure that villages are Wi-Fi at the last mile, with the backhaul coming in, from the fiber or satellite or, fixed wireless access or whatever it is, the other methodologies there are there. And can the government come out with a USOF kind of a fund for that, so that, the initial thrust is given, and once the thrust is given, the villagers become more entrepreneurial and they start using it for their businesses. Hopefully things will turn around, and then we can actually say, yes, that India is truly in the way of digital economy, and we are truly the leaders in digital infrastructure, as the Honorable Minister so desired was, as he extrapolated so beautifully in the morning. Yeah. So these were my remarks, which I just wanted to lay out, for the government, the industry, and the audience over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Puri. You just brought a very valuable insight into it. How to provide a proper Wi-Fi or broadband in the rural areas, and that too self-sustainable and affordable? It's a big question. Even that backhaul, whatever the optical fiber you laid, it is not going up to all the villages. Who will connect that? Then, of course, you will be using Wi-Fi. And you go for alternate media, let us say that satellite. So satellite, we have been satellite connections in India. We are one of the leading spacefaring nations. We have our own satellites. It's the affordability. That is the one we could not be able to provide. It is not self-sustainable. And now with the LEO and MEO, the probably government also will be deciding on the spectrum assignment. We expect they will be launching the services. I still have my own doubts whether they will go and provide the services in the rural areas. The device equipment itself is a proprietary type, and it is costly, 20,000 per terminal. Who will be doing that? Who will be funding? It's a big, it's a big question. I think we have to work together. We have to work how to take it to rural. Then with that, I request my last speaker, but not the least, Mr. Bhattacharya, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. A lot has been said about PM Vani, rural connectivity. I will come back to the original subject of this particular thing, which is de-license 6 gigahertz. So BIF has been championing the cause of de-license 6 gigahertz since 2021. In fact, since 2020, we made the first once US FCC decided to de-license the entire 1200 megahertz in the 6 gigahertz band. I remember we wrote a letter to the secretary at that time, to Secretary Telecom, asking for similar dispensation be given to 6 gigahertz in India. But those were like ancient days, 5 years back. A lot of water has flown under the bridge. DOT formed a committee. We were initially not a member of that committee, but we forced our way into the committee. We were co-opted later on at the behest of our request. DOT agreed. And then we made our mark in that committee. Prior to actually, the work that started within the government for delicensing of 6 gigahertz, at the outset, I should thank the government, the Department of Telecom, WPC, ma'am, for the great work that they have done in delicensing the lower 6 gigahertz, 500 megahertz. Thank you very much, ma'am. We're really obliged. However, having said that, so just to give you a little background and a history about BIF's involvement, we were the first to actually do what is called the, for India, the coexistence studies in the 6 gigahertz band. And we did it for the entire band, not just the lower, but the entire 1200 megahertz, to study the coexistence between possible Wi-Fi or RLAN introduction in the band, along with the existing incumbents, which is the fixed services and the fixed satellite services. And this study was done, it was referred to by Hiral in his presentation. It was done jointly in conjunction with some of the leading Wi-Fi players in, across the world, and it was conducted by a global technology body called RKF Engineering, who did it on behalf of BIF. BIF commissioned the study. The study reports were very encouraging. It showed that RLAN or Wi-Fi in the entire 6 gigahertz band for low power and very low power applications can actually coexist with the FS and FSS services across the entire band. Subsequently, a revised variant of that was also developed where ISRO, Department of Space, asked us to carry out studies with the same study with some refinement in the satellite portion of the, gave us some new parameters, and we worked on that as well. And the results again were very encouraging. So this is to give you a little background about what BIF has done in this area. Now, having come to the stage now where on 16th of May 2025, DOT has introduced the draft rules, the Gazette notification, and comments were sought within 30 days, which have been already submitted. So our views are more or less aligned to what Hiral presented. So we have requested DOT, first of all, we thank DOT for having opened up the lower 500 megahertz in this band. And we request DOT once again in this audience also, I must emphasize that we want this to be opened up ASAP, which means without any delay. And as we heard very encouragingly from the minister, we hope to get it by 15th of August 2025. I hope we can get it by then. The other point we would like to make is that without causing any delay, if there are two other points which have also been captured by Hiral in his presentation, one is the increase in the PSD limits for both VLP and LPI cases, respectively, from VLP, in the case of VLP from -5 dBm per megahertz to 1 dBm per megahertz, and in the case of LPI from 5 dBm per megahertz to 11 dBm per megahertz, without impacting the EIRP. If that can be also obtained without causing any delay or causing any further studies to be conducted or carried out by DOT, that would be also very helpful. Apart from that, we are also aligned to the requirement of CBP, though I heard ma'am just now say that there is a issue about satellite, some satellite noise levels coming from the satellite, aggregated satellite, this thing. We are a little concerned about it. We hope that can be overcome and we can still get the CBP approved along with this final notification. There is one other request, ma'am, and this is kind of a carry forward to what Mr. Parampuri mentioned. You see, why do we need this 6 gigahertz D-license spectrum? After all, there is already 2.4 and 5.8 and then 5 gigahertz. A total of 689 megahertz of D-license spectrum exists. And people should say that should be enough. After all, when we are talking of rural areas or rural connectivity, I don't think even 1 megahertz of that is being utilized currently. So there is enough spectrum for the rural area. But that is not the reason why delicensing of 6 gigahertz has been asked for. 5G signals and going forward 6G signals are all in the higher frequency bands, where they are very good for outdoor connectivity. When it comes to indoor connectivity, and somebody said in the morning that how much of the total bandwidth is consumed indoors? 80%. So if 80% of the bandwidth is consumed, yeah, I'll just try to finish in 2 minutes. 80% of the bandwidth is consumed indoors. You need the signal, 5G signal, to penetrate indoors, and that is not possible with the higher frequency band. So you need a higher corresponding Wi-Fi signal which complements the 5G or the 6G signal which is available outdoors. And that can be made available through these new next generation modern Wi-Fi technologies, 6E and Wi-Fi 7, and later on Wi-Fi 8 in 2028. So these are the technologies that can complement the 5G, 6G signal so that you get a seamless connectivity both outdoors and indoors, and you do not feel the need for switching over from one network to the other network, because it is a seamless thing. This is the reason why you need delicense 6 gigahertz to propagate 6E, Wi-Fi 6E and 7 while you're indoors, so that you get good connectivity. And to be able to do that, you need, ma'am, just not 500 megahertz. Our request to the DOT is that please look at the possibility of giving the same power levels for LPI and VLPI use cases for the entire 1200 megahertz band. It is being tried out in some countries. He mentioned, Param mentioned about Ofcom. There are some other countries which are also doing the trials. While IMT can exist outdoor for the upper 6 gigahertz band, you could also probably think of coexistence of lower 6 gigahertz, using LPI and VLPI use cases in the upper 6 gigahertz, along with IMT in the outdoor areas. So that is one request we leave with you. And to begin with, if you cannot give us the full 1200 megahertz, we would request if you can give us an additional 160 megahertz over and above 500 megahertz. That will make it a 660 megahertz of a delicensed spectrum, in which we can run at least 2 channels of 320 megahertz together. And that would give us very good quality, immersive, low latency applications can be very successfully run with that. So that is the request that I would like to leave with you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bhattacharya. Noted. All your demands noted. But he has given 2 competing demands. He says you release that rule and you also increase the power, you also increase the band. So I think your first demand is release the rules at the earliest. I think that will follow. Later we will see based on the decisions.
Without any delay.
Yeah, without any delay, whatever is possible, probably we will be working on it technically. That is the best way forward. Then anyhow, we can review it maybe after 1 or 2 years based on the deployment scenario and IMT, how it is going and existing things. With that, it's a great interesting session. I think we can take, if you permit, we can take 1 question or... yeah, that's good. It's always better to have a questions, no? Otherwise it is only one side now. So we can take 2 questions, quick questions. Raise your hands, and if you don't have a question, so that's good.
I think there are no questions, ma'am, so we can...
No questions?
No questions.
1 question, please. Pass on the mic.
Can we have the microphone? Yes.
Oh. Can you pass on the mic?
We would request you to identify yourself, sir.
Yeah. No, it's Mr. Adam.
Thank you, panel. Myself, R.R. Yadav, from DOT TEC. My basic question is that whenever you delicense the spectrum for the Wi-Fi, how you control interference between the operators in the Wi-Fi band itself?
It's a very good question. So when we delicense, we say it is non-interference based, non-protection basis. It's only the devices will check it. Whenever the channel is free only, they will be able to use it. And another way of controlling it is we define the parameters, technical parameters. That is the reason where these people are asking that power spectral density, you increase it, what should be the EARP, whether antenna should be inbuilt or out of the built, what is the duty cycle. So that suppose we delicense for some data link, people started continuously talking over it, the other people will be deprived of it. So we define the technical parameters such that reasonably people will be able to use without having interference. If there is a big gathering, definitely they will have a problem. It is on that. I hope I have answered your question, Mr. Yadav. I think 2 questions only we have given.
So
Means if no one is there, you can take
I
that question.
consume both questions entitlement.
Yeah.
Now, if intentionally someone want to interfere, then what is the option?
So intentionally, if somebody is interfering, yes, we don't have any answer. It is a common good. It is a tragedy of commons. If somebody is continuously disturbing others, it will be like that.
Thank you very
Okay.
much indeed.
Thank you for your questions.
So,
and
ladies
thank
and
you,
gentlemen.
BIF, for giving me this opportunity. And special thanks to my special panelists. So we are concluding our session. Thank you again.
Thank you. And let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. I would request Ms. M. Revathi, ma'am, our session chair, to kindly do the honors of presenting mementos. We present to Mr. Vivek Dua, Principal General Manager, Fixed Access BSNL, and to Mr. Debashish Bhattacharya, Sr DDG BIF. So we've already...
Only one you will get, you know.
Sir, please receive.
It's for you. It's for you.
And may I invite Mr. Umang Das, Chairperson, Standing Committee of Chairs, BIF, to kindly come up and do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude and appreciation to Ms. M. Revathi, Distinguished Chair for this session. And we would request for a group photograph. Mr. Das, if you could kindly stay back.
Can we request Chairperson BIF Madam also on the...
Yes, ma'am. I would request Ms. Aruna Sundarajan, on popular demand by Ms. Revathi, to kindly join the panel for a group photograph. Brigadier Anil Tandon, you also please kindly join. Thank you very much indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, on popular demand,